But so if he's in Singapore and CZ, according to this lawsuit, CZ is in Dubai. Let's pretend that this. Let's keep walking down this hypothetical here. If these executives get called in by the DOJ, I mean, who cares, right?
I mean, yeah, who cares? But also, like, I think the more once or if CZ and whoever else is a fugitive, even if they can't easily arrest them because they've positioned themselves in non-extradition countries, they make it really easy for every other company to justify cutting off Binance's accounts, access to the banks, going after their subsidiaries and shutting those down, right? It gives them a very easy pretext to take all these other actions that don't necessarily go after CZ the person, but do go after Binance, the organization made up of dozens and dozens of entities spread across all these different countries.
Yeah. While I will admit that the amount of regulatory enforcement in the past month or so has surprised even me, just because it has happened swiftly and all at once. I still have a bit of hesitation. And look, we did see the successful, Sam Bankman-Fried he's out on house arrest, but he's gonna go to prison. Like, it's over.
Well, so let's pause and think of the last couple years, right? SBF is indicted. Do Kwon is indicted. Happened moments after we finished our last live stream. Do Kwon gets indicted. Mashinsky's being pursued for fraud charges in New York, right? Like, a lot of the major bad actors of the last couple years actually are like either fugitives or like in custody for various cases. There has been a meaningful change in the posture of regulators and law enforcement towards cryptocurrency. They fundamentally don't seem to have the same patience for it they've had in the past and seem far more willing to bring cases and indict. And that's kind of like the challenge with this Binance complaint, right? Is they're talking about behavior that dates back to 2017, 2018, and 2019 in 2023. And reading it, like, you do come away kind of feeling like, really, you had to wait till 2023 to do anything about these egregious violations? That seems kind of like bullshit. And so what I think has changed is kind of the political landscape around these regulators and around law enforcement that is letting them bring some of these cases and stuff now.
I will say that they lay out a lot of relatively convincing arguments in this. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that people will take issue with and that I haven't, probably if I read line by line, I'll take away some different understandings and have my own issues with it as well. Maybe, I don't know. But from what I've read, it does seem pretty damning. And, I know innocent until proven guilty and all of that. But sorry, go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. There is one last thing that I want to kind of push on with the federal government's change in stance towards these things. And that comes back to the Hydra darknet marketplace. That was a major takedown for the United States Department of Justice, and they've used it to take down some of these related entities. And there was the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Task Force, and the DOJ did their press conference when they took out Bitslotto. And it was hilarious because it was fucking Bitslotto. But the other major counterparty for Hydra, besides local Bitcoins and besides Bitslotto, is Binance. And in this CFTC lawsuit, Stephen Lim at one point was discussing a customer who appeared to be associated with illicit activity and said, let him know to be careful with his flow of funds, especially from darknet like Hydra. He can come back with a new account, but this current one has to go. It's tainted. I think the fact that Hydra made its way into this CFTC case is the biggest clue that there is a major federal case coming for Binance.
I'm curious. So when they say at the very end of this, the takeaway here, without obviously we've given some takeaways of what it could mean and all of these hypotheticals, but the conclusion of this lawsuit, they say jury trial demanded. Plaintiff hereby demands a jury trial on all issues so triable. So is CZ coming to America?
No.
So he can just have his lawyers represent him at this trial?
I don't know the details, but I'm pretty sure he's not coming to America.
They also strictly lay out that he's a Canadian citizen, which I know everyone, we all know that, but like, I bet he doesn't go to Canada ever either. So I'm kind of like, he's probably a citizen of 14 different countries. Yeah. So I'm curious why is that just like where he grew? Maybe they just mean that's where he grew up, and spent his adulthood until he left,
or where they've been able to easily and confidently like establish he does have a citizenship, right? Like it's pretty easy for them to call up Canadian authorities and get a straight answer on that. It may be more difficult for some of the other places that he may have passports, and they may be under variations of his name, let's say.
Mm-hmm.